I tell you, all this stuff, I got to put it all under the layout and get under there and start. Oh, hey, David, F&B Railroad. Let me just drop this stuff, you know. Hi there. Glad to see you guys again. I tell you, it's a lot of work. This episode, which is episode 51, I'm going to be getting underneath the layout, doing some more wiring. So let's get on with this. So here we go. After you. So this used to be plugged into here, and this box right here has the switch for the whole layout. So when I turn this on, this runs power. So I had to put this T in here to run power to my other tables. And as you can see, I use extension cords. I have extension cords running underneath my layout. I cut them and I wire them right into the junction boxes or switch boxes, however you would like to call it. Now I ran from there on over. You can see I had to shorten the cable up, and right next to it is a box that is hooked to a light switch for the lights on the layout. So that had a plug coming out of it, this yellow cord. So I connected it there, and as you can see, I use the extension cord to make a junction, because right here is where these tables split. And my layout's made out of 5 tables, so that someday when I move, I can take them all apart. So from there, I ran across, and as you can see, there's another set of plugs right there, because again, we got another table break right here. And then those 2 cords, one runs into this outlet here, which you can see I have a just plug power source plugged into that light switch, and then there's still an empty one. And then the other cord actually goes over that box and around the corner to that outlet there. Now that's the power for the layout, and that's got a plug in it that runs the lights for the track sensing, so I know whether there's something on the track or not. That's plugged into that outlet. From there, I ran down to another break in the table. So there's the other another break separating 2 tables, and there's an outlet there. And the other cord outlet is right there, waiting to be hooked up to carry 110 power, or no, carry lights down to the end of the layout. The other one is the 110 power. So now I've moved myself to the other side of the table legs, and here's that 110, the one for the lights hanging down, and our other 110 runs down the layout to another box here. And just above that, next to it, is going to be my power source, an old computer power source that I'm going to use to power up the 12-volt system to run all my switch machines. And I have quite a few switch machines clustered where there's a lot of switches going on. You know, you see the clusters, that's where a bunch of switches are. So that's a lot of turnouts. And then the other thing you'll see under here is just some wires hanging down. I did those so I knew where I could run my feeders for the track up above. And some of these are actually getting quite tight to the switch machines. So I wanted to do those and make sure I wasn't going to run into any switch machines. There's another set of drops. And then the other thing I've done is all these wires here, which are feeding over to some more switch machines over there. And then all this wiring cluster of wires here. These are all my switch machines. So all of these are my switch machines. And I have them all labeled and they're waiting. I'll probably hook up these wires to junction blocks that I put on this piece of wood right back here, because that's where my control panel is going to sit. So these wires will go to that junction block, and then my control panel wires will come out from underneath the control panel and also hook to those junction blocks. So I've been doing a lot of wiring underneath the layout. You really have to, look and appreciate all the stuff that goes on under a layout. Yeah, it looks pretty up top, but this is where all the work happens. Underneath the layout. All your switch machines, all your power coming in, all your lights, all your track power. It all happens underneath here. And this right here is my control panel. You can see I've got my track plan laid out on it, and the black are spur lines or branch lines, and then the red is my main line, and then my white is my yard. Now this right here is my main line part 2, where it splits. There's a crossover here. So this outer one is actually going to the station. So this inner one is my main line. And then this black one is my arrival departure track for the layout. And then you got the yard. And then off the yard, you have the yard lead, tail, whatever you'd like to call it. And then I have a little second if I need it. And then this one here is going to feed off to my lumber mill. And then, of course, if you go over here, this black line here is the reversing loop. And then in here, we got a leg that comes down in, and that's the main feed for this industrial area. You come back out to here, and that is your runaround. Off of here, you got your 2 tracks feeding into your intermodal. This third track here is 1/2 of the plastic company. And off of this one here is the other half of the plastic company. And then this one here, which you have to get to by this switch, is going to feed a warehouse, transfer, whatever you'd like to call it, transfer station, warehouse. And then off here, this is going to lead back to my truck repair facility back here. But that's what I've been doing, painting that, installing all my switches, and what I'm up to now is wiring switches. No easy way to show you. Well, that one's not too bad. So you got your black crossover and your red crossover to the top and the bottom, and the center pins will be the wires that feed out to the tortoise switch machines. And then of course it's all daisy chained from one to the other, and I still have switches to wire. I'm not done yet. Like you can see here, there's 2 wires there that are going to daisy chain to this switch here, and hopefully I'll get this done soon. I've been working on this area where I had to raise up the city, so I cut a groove and put some Sculptamold down in, make this trench around the city. This side I haven't put any Sculptamold in, and over here I just blended it down into the tracks, because the track also raises to match the back track back there, which goes uphill through the mountain. And the other thing I've been doing is I trenched it out all the way down to the plywood. Same on this side, and all the way out, and I have a straw in there right now. But I got some plastic. It's kind of hard to see there, but maybe we can see it here. It's stacked stone from Plastruck. I cut it into a shape similar to this, and that's going to make the sidewalls for the ditches, for the drainage ditch. And I'll probably work on this some more, but I got a feeling I'm going to put some plastic on the back of it and cap it and make it look good. And I'll cut that straw so it only goes under each section, and then we'll landscape it and everything else, and it'll turn out well. So you can see here I did add that plastic to that stacked stone, and I've also cut off the straw. So you got your steel culvert going underneath the railroad track. And I also put a piece of plastic tubing that's going to be going underneath the road here, so we have a culvert running underneath the road as well. Well, that's the end of episode 51, and you saw how I got underneath the layout with all the extension cords and outlets and electrical boxes and whatnot, and I use extension cords to run my power around the layout. This way I have a spot where I can break it and take the tables down when I have to move. The other thing was working on my control panel, and I believe this is going to be the first version of my control panels. Eventually I will probably make new ones and put in some LED lights to let me know which track is good, which track is bad to travel on. And the other thing is working on around the city, doing that drainage ditch and the culverts underneath the train tracks and road. But you know, I really do appreciate everybody who watches. You know, thank you for watching. You know, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. It costs you nothing. You know, it ain't gonna hurt to subscribe. You'll get to see more of my videos as they come out. Hit the bell. This way you'll get notification when I have a new video out. And you know, share it with your friends. What can I say? Hopefully maybe one of them can use something I'm doing, or maybe not. I don't know. But as I always say, keep on modeling.